Okay. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Helen Keller. So it's February, and you know what that means. It's the month where the heart reigns. February is American Heart Month, and of course, it's also the month of Valentine's Day. So, in honor of this heart-centered time of year, we are diving deep into heart-based meditation. And let me tell you, I could not be more excited about this topic. Not only do I love love, but as a former cardiac critical care nurse, I have become very fascinated with the heart. Not just from an anatomical and physiological perspective, but also from the kind of energetic and emotional one as well. And my favorite thing is bridging the gap between science and spirit, and I feel like this topic particularly does that so beautifully. And I'm excited to share it. So the heart plays a central role in our well-being, and not only within our own bodies, but in how we interact with the world around us. So buckle up. This is going to get a little bit technical, but I promise it'll be well worth the time to hear this content and understand this content. So here are some concepts to understand as we kind of walk through this science of the heart topic for this month. So the topic we're going to start with first, or the concept we're going to start with first, is heart rate variability. Heart rate variability, and this is the natural variation in time between heartbeats. So there's pretty steady, or you can have, so that is less steady. And so heart rate variability is the variable time in between each individual beat. And so if you have a high heart rate variability, or the time in between each beat is always a little bit different, this actually means that you have a strong and flexible nervous system, and then it adapts well to stress, which is a good thing. If you have a low heart rate variability, where it's always beating on the same intervals, that means that you have a less adaptable nervous system and is often linked to stress and fatigue, so not as good. So high heart rate variability, good. Low heart rate variability, not as good. And we also have coherence versus incoherence. So coherence is when, if your heart is in a coherent state, this means that it is sending smooth, clear, and balanced signals to the brain. This requires high heart rate variability and leads to better focus, better emotional balance, smart decision making, and then better overall well-being. So this is good. Incoherence. This means that the heart rhythm is erratic or disorganized and is often caused by stress or negative emotions. This happens with low heart rate variability, and it can result in brain fog, emotional ups and downs, poor decision making, and low resilience. Okay, so in summary, we have heart rate variability, which is what we want, and then we have coherence versus incoherence. Coherence requires having a higher heart rate variability, and it brings all these positive things into our life, like emotional balance, smart decision making, just overall better well-being. Whereas incoherence, you probably have a lower heart rate variability, and then it also causes these more negative things like stress and negative emotions. All right, moving on. So now we're going to talk about the heart's role in our body. And I just want to also make a note that a lot of this information, especially when we're talking about like coherence and incoherence, a lot of this information is coming from the HeartMath Institute. They do lots and lots of research about this particular thing, about the coherence of the heart and how it affects you and those around you. So most of my information is coming from that. But there's a lot of other resources that have gone into creating this video. So anyways, the heart's role in our body. The heart is the very first organ to form when we're developing as a little baby fetus. Before the brain or any other organ exists, we have the heart, and it is pumping all this blood to our little bodies, and all of our organs and everything is basically made because of the pumping of our heart, sending blood and nutrients and allowing us to grow. So in many ways, the heart is the center of our creation, the center of what made our bodies, and kind of setting the foundation for everything that follows. So the heart's rhythm, and it makes sense that this is the case, the heart's rhythm dictates the rhythm of the entire body. It kind of acts as the conductor while the rest of the body kind of plays in sync like a symphony. But the heart is more than just a pump, it is also a powerful communicator. Research suggests that the heart sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. You think that like if you're stressed out, you're going to be really anxious and it's going to make your heart beat really fast. But this is suggesting that our heart picks up on something before our brain does. And maybe our heart starts beating fast before our brain even really knows why it's doing that. Some research suggests that the heart sends 9 times more information than the brain sends to the heart. But I don't know if that's been verified, but I've seen that number thrown around out there. So anyway, this influence, this signal that goes from our heart to our brain influences our thoughts, our emotions, our hormone release, and how our heart rate and blood pressure respond to situations. This connection highlights just how much the heart's state affects our overall well-being. So what this is saying is that our heart has like its own little brain, its own information center, and it sends signals to the brain which affect our stress levels and our hormones and all this stuff. So taking care of the heart is a really good place to start when we're trying to focus on our well-being. All right, so now this is where things get really, really cool. Studies from the HeartMath Institute suggest that our heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends 6 to 8 feet beyond our bodies. Kind of like we have this orb around us, this electromagnetic field created by the electrical activity in our heart. And this field not only interacts with those around us, but it also reflects the coherence or the harmony or incoherence or disharmony of our heart rhythms. And guess what? It actually affects our pets as well. So in simple terms, when your heart is in a state of coherence, remember that kind of the state that requires the high heart rate variability that's in harmony with the rest of the body, others around you can subconsciously sense and even synchronize with that energy, and vice versa. If you're incoherent, the same thing can happen. So essentially, this is a scientific way of confirming what I think most of us have experienced many times in our lives, and that is that we can feel and are influenced by other people's vibes. And I think it's really cool that research backs this up. All right, so now we know that we have these different states of the heart, and we know that having a high heart rate variability is in our favor towards, having coherence in our heart. And we know that when our heart is in the state of coherence or harmony, that it positively affects our body. And we know that it also kind of emits into this electromagnetic field around us and positively affects those around us because they can sense it and then their bodies too can sync up with it. All really wild, cool, fun stuff to learn about. But how do we enter this state? What does that even mean to be in a state of coherence, to have a happy heart? I will tell you. So the simple answer is heart-based meditation. When we experience emotions like love, care, appreciation, or joy, our heart rate variability improves, which allows us to be able to go into that coherent or harmonious state easier. And the best part is that we don't have to wait for these feelings of love and joy and gratitude to arise. We can meditate on them in order to cultivate these feelings and put ourselves in this coherent state. All right, I know that was a ton of information, but I think hopefully you're following along and kind of understanding that these feelings that we hold inside of us have a huge impact on our physiological well-being and on the world around us. So let's take a moment now to cultivate this coherent heart, this happy harmonious heart. We're going to do a really brief heart-based meditation in order to do this. So I encourage you to find a moment of stillness, a quiet space. And if you want to take a second to dim the lights or get a blanket, whatever is going to help you get into this space. And now close your eyes and shift your attention to the center of your chest. Maybe even place a hand on the center of your chest. And breathe slowly and evenly. Inhaling for 5 seconds and exhaling for 5 seconds. And now I want you to recall a moment of love or gratitude or joy. Maybe it's just the smiling face of somebody you love, or a wonderful vacation you went on. Whatever it is, pick something that is going to make you feel that sense of joy. And now notice that space in the center of your chest. Can you feel the qualities of those feelings of joy and gratitude? Maybe there's a lightness to it, a tingling. But whatever it is, just hold on to that. Keep that in your body. Allowing that coherence to settle in. And knowing that this is creating harmony in your body. Staying here for another breath. Final breath here. Releasing the meditation, but holding on to that feeling in your heart. And I want to challenge you to trying this next time you're at the checkout line at your grocery store or wherever you're shopping. When it's your time to go and check out, I want you to create this happy heart and then interact with the clerk. And just notice if there's any difference in your interactions or how you experience them or how maybe they experience you. Because when we dedicate ourselves to cultivating this happy heart, this coherent heart, it makes us better, but it also makes the world better. And then if it rubs off on someone else and they make someone else's day better, like that can seriously change the world. One happy heart at a time. So give it a try. Or if you just want to start with doing this in the morning for yourself, start with that. But just know that this has a ton of power in it. And you have the power to change your well-being starting from within. So simply put, when we cultivate love in our hearts, we enhance our well-being and contribute to a better world. And science is proving it. I encourage you to go to HeartMath.com and check out all they have to offer on their website. There's lots of information on there. So if you like this video, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my newsletter so you don't miss anything as far as my meditation Mondays go, and share it with somebody who might find this interesting or helpful. And let's spread this heart-centered love together. All right, until next time, peace out.